Tuna wageni watatu, Mheshimiwa Sebastian Kapufi mbunge, ambao ni wadau wa maendeleo kutoka Marekani. Wadau wa maendeleo kutoka Marekani, karibuni sana.
Container packed with supplies that need to make their way to families in Africa, like yesterday. You said this is a 53-foot trailer? This trailer is packed with medical supplies destined to the motherland. We need to help get these out of here. What were you taught about marriage? Did it have you properly prepared for the journey or desperately frustrated looking for the nearest escape? I'm Shar, founder of Law for Love, the most special place in the legal system in Atlanta. And after navigating families through the court system for more than 13 years, we are now taking those lessons learned to serve and support families to build healthier, happier, more purposeful marriages. Join us live on YouTube at Law for Love ATL Monday nights for our family meetings. Yes, grown folk discussions.
Shalom, Salama, Siemi, Shalawam. Greetings to all of my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you're the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you're a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you this morning. Thank you, family, for your prayers for me. I am still dealing with things. It's gotten a little bit better, still some lingering effects that I'm going to keep going because there's a lot to talk about. Yesterday, I couldn't even hardly talk more than a couple minutes. But it's funny because in this time, I know that was the Most High just telling me just to relax, be quiet, and just take a look at everything unfolding. And I can say that as I have seen everything unfold over the last less than a week now, I have to truly be thankful and grateful that I'm able to see this time. Over my period of time that I've been here on this channel, that I've had gotten things started a little over 4 years ago, I didn't know what that course would bring. I didn't know how things would look. But every day would be something different. And every year it would be an inch. Things would inch closer and closer and closer. And finally we're seeing things inching towards the bigger picture per se. And that big picture is now being shown to the rest of the world. I'm going to start off with this article. I'll post it in the chat. Let me go ahead. Present this. Increasing number of voters don't think Biden should be running after debate with Trump, CBS News poll. This is June 30th. They're playing their commentary. For months before the first debate, the nation's voters repeatedly expressed doubts over whether President Biden had the cognitive health to serve. Today, those doubts have grown even more, now at nearly three-quarters of the electorate, and now including many within his own party. That is a 45% jump of a disparagement. That's from the 28th and 29th. I'm not here to be political. Matter of fact, I'm apolitical. But what I want us to consider in what we've been witnessing, I believe that we've been, as I stated, this has been a zombie administration. And all they're trying to do is literally eat brains. And the reason I say that is when all you have left is to try to get as many resources as you can. You don't care about anything or anybody or anyone else. It's funny now that the rest of the world has to consider the same mechanisms that was done to us is now being done to them. Yes, we had our laugh on Friday, but I really want you to understand now how dire the consequences are. Because why? Because let me tell you, there's blood in the water. We already knew that America was on its last legs. That should be no surprise. That should be no secret, especially if you've been on this channel for a while. But I had to think about Obadiah chapter 1. I had to think about Joel chapter 3. All of these scriptures we have just been reading because why? Because now folks can see and understand something is happening. And they're realizing that there's going to be some dire consequences with this. When Rome is burning and the emperor has no clothes, Rome is burning. The emperor is naked. The wise men of Teman are now destroyed. This is Jeremiah 49. Don't think that this is just a laughing matter that ha ha he nothing else is going to happen. No, understand this is the pause for concern that these folks are mad about because they understand how quickly things are about to spiral out of control. So, no matter what, on November 5th, in less than 4.5 months, there will be contention. I don't care who you bring up, I don't care what you bring up, because you're going to hear the arguments from both sides. They can't do a a caucus because why? Because Biden had basically snatched all that power. And I'm not going to say Biden. Clearly cannot say Biden. I think the best term is the Biden acolytes have really snatched the Democratic Party, supposedly. And we saw the same thing with the Republicans. Here's the thing, we already knew what this setup was going to be. The setup was to design for everyone to lose their confidence in this system. And honestly, it's working. The system has always been broken. We had just been shouting it, I think, maybe a little too soon, but we could see it. So, right now, the rest of the world is seeing this. It can't do anything, it can't go anywhere. It's everybody now has pause to concern. And when people are pulling their money, their real money, out of the United States right now, you will not know the effects of it, nor I. Because even as people pull their money, guess what? We'll be told absolutely nothing. And they'll say the stock market's doing great because you have BlackRock that has just gotten more funding via the Federal Reserve to prop up stocks and positions like everything is cool. I told you the smoke and mirrors. Can we all see it? And I didn't have to tell you anything. The Most High has already said everything. His word has already declared it. All we're doing is just seeing his word being stretched forth, being carried forth. That's it. So, no, I'm not here to be a man of doom and gloom. just facing facts, just facing reality. And it's funny because I had a relatively brief conversation with my brother the other day, last night, matter of fact. And yes, family, I'm pray for me. I'm still in a bit of a struggle. I don't I don't know what this bug done did to me. I can breathe now, but my body is still bad. It's just it's fatigue. It's tiredness. I overdid myself. I was I was tallying up the totals. It was about 2,500 miles in a couple days, in 6 days, with a lot of things going on. So my body was a little hurt. This would be a great time for me to go on vacation. It'll be a vacation. It definitely won't be a paid vacation, but it'll be a vacation. Oh, I don't have time for that. Mm, yeah. I'm gonna say this, even with the amount of travel I did on the plantation, they would act like they cared about, oh, take a couple days off. They try to at least act like it. Oh, we won't see you back till Monday. Relax. I'm gonna share this article. Top aide shielded Biden from staff but couldn't hide the debate. We have been saying that for a while. And here's the thing. When we're talking about the accident that Biden had in June, I'm going to tell you this. Actions speak louder than words, and let me tell you, body language tells you something. My question was always, why couldn't they have other folks in there at least observing? You know, you have people, they would be told to not make a sound, to not interrupt. I would think probably that if you're suffering from a very serious lack of cognitive dysphoria and issues of that nature, you probably aren't able to hold concentration. And when Jill Biden came on out the very next day, on the stage, and she had the cue to have him stare at her. So why? So he could hold a cognitive response. And she literally said, this came out of her mouth. I cannot lie. I wish I had that clip. It came out of her mouth. You did such a good job answering all the questions. I was mortified. You did such a good job answering all the questions. What does that mean? What can you infer from that? Lady, your husband belongs in a nursing home. He's probably doesn't have the mental facilities to even drive anymore. And it's just not Jill. That's the whole enterprise that's basically wearing this man to his death. It's not just Jill. I think it's the whole family. Because why? Because in my calculation, they realize that they're about to go through some very interesting legal matters. So there's a lot of things. Oh, it's the night of the debate. he had to he had to get that elixir fixer, that wake me up tonic. Yep, Jim Crow Joe is being repaid straight to his face. Yes, Sean. Jim Crow Joe. And yep, they do want to die in office. It's almost it's symbolic, right? I'm gonna let's say delete, but they want to expire in office because why? They're going down with the ship, and if they're going down with the ship, they want everyone else to go down in the ship with them. I sit as a queen. I shall not see the loss of my children. Wow. Is this not scripture? I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. Everything is screaming on out. How can this happen? How can we look at this? Look, you know what ended up happening was this takes people's minds and attention away from Hezbollah because while they're getting bombed, the U.S. is trying to come through. It's the same tactic. While you're getting bombed, just take some money, take some cash. If you didn't know, that's how politics work. Don't worry about our friend bombing you. Take our cash. Take the money. Take the see. Don't react. Take the money. But it takes us a while to get the money. But while you're getting bombed, don't just know that that money's coming. Understand this has all been basically a litmus test. How will you stand up to absolute buffoonery? You just saw that with the Arab nations. If you didn't know, family, all the Arab nations, you're looking at Gog versus Magog right here. Who's on the side of Gog? Who's on the side of Magog? Not Gomer. The rest of Gomer's seed, as what you would see in Genesis chapter 10 and 3, and you would read in the Apocrypha. Japheth would always take themselves out. And he had the strong side with the stronger Japheth. How did he do all that? A lot of it wasn't done just through military conquest. A lot of things that happen is done through deceit, being clandestine, subversion. You didn't understand that you had a warfare system that was being done to us for over 400 years. And now everything has to be exposed because why? Because the empire is falling. And it's falling in front of our eyes, and they're the ones that's doing it to themselves. What happens when a group of people, a nation of people that have been able to fool the whole world is no longer able to lie to the whole world? That has some dire consequences. As I was saying earlier, when I was talking to my brother, he was telling me, he said, I don't know who to vote for. He said, I never could imagine being one of those people that would sit out and not participate in democracy. He said, but this year makes him feel as though that's not a bad option. But what he said out of his mouth afterwards did not sound any better. I should just take my passport and head over to Canada. I'm like, okay. If you think that that's an option, it's really not. But I get it. Because why? Because they don't. How can you respond to this if you don't know who you are? It's not about knowing who you are right now. Let me tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this because I said it last year. We're not at the time of our people need to wake up. Our people need to know who we are. Our people. My personal opinion is, I think our people done woke up a while ago and they chose sides. Our people done heard the message a while ago. And it's easier to say, I'm feigning ignorance. Yeah, I know I'm a Hebrew. Yeah, I know I'm an Israelite. I don't care. I'm still siding with the system. I'm still siding with the quote unquote physical mighty hand. They're still choosing this system because why? Because it's the only one that's in front of their face for now. Because why? Because there has to be a choice made. There has to be a physical decision made. You can wake up, you can know what's happening, you can choose to stay. But if you choose to stay, you're choosing your death and, well, your deletion. And guess what? That choice is about to come sooner than later. It's coming, family. And when it comes, no one should be surprised. We've been told, we've been advised, things have been said. I didn't think it was going to be here. I didn't think. I didn't think. How many I didn't thinks have we heard? The wise see danger and make preparations, while the fool carries about like it's normal. I don't understand family, but I look at this as danger. These are dangerous times. In this article, Joe Biden's close aides have carefully shielded him from people inside and outside the White House since the beginning of his presidency. Since the beginning of his presidency. They don't care about this man. They just want him to They're parading around a puppet. I dropped that. That was from Axios. This is all puppetry. You have France moving far right. Christian warrior training as church puts faith in guns. Cursed is a man who does what? Who trusts the power of his own arm. Who trusts in his own flesh. This is all the curses right in front of your. I don't know what else to say. And all I'm gonna say is they did it to themselves. Because that's what the word says. Why? They'll be looking for the guilt of Judah, but won't be able to find any. Come on, Gentiles. I know you're in the back there. You already know. We've been telling you. You're seeing it. We got a category 4 hurricane and the Atlantic now coming into the Caribbean. That may not affect much of anybody, but that affects me because I have to plan for that. And it affects the folks that are living in the Gulf states, Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, and Florida. Earliest category 4 in hurricane season. You can't make this up. And the reason that this is so dangerous, and they'll be talking about it later on in the week because a lot of Floridians know, but folks outside that just may have moved to Florida, they don't know. You don't get those crosswinds from the Atlantic until later in the season, around August, September. So there's nothing stopping that hurricane coming up into the Gulf because it comes up through the jet The little jet stream, it comes up into the jet stream, and then it gets to, then it will get sucked east. Just like you have the Gulf moisture that always goes up north, that's what happens. But why tell anybody? You can't cause panic. You can't cause alarm. Are people getting that now? Do our people understand what's happening? This is the consequence that we face. We're going to be facing it all together. They're going to be facing the consequences. And so are we. Because we're going to be right there in the midst watching this take place. We're here. No one should ask, how did we get here? What drove us to this? Nobody should ask that question. Nope. No, Charles West. It's all below the Saharan dust. That thing is intensifying. Imagine those whirlwinds from the south. Wow, look at that. Imagine. Imagine that the scriptures, that the word is the word. Everything the Most High said that was going to happen is happening. Imagine. But what does that mean? That means we have to continue to tell our family, prepare. It's not the fact of they're choosing. They're not going to choose to believe us. They're not going to choose to believe anything we say about who we are. I'm going to say this. The time of choosing is over. It's over. Now things are going to move full speed ahead. Because why? Because Pharaoh's arms are broken. Pharaoh's. The captivity of being so nice, the Most High gave us Pharaoh twice. There's a lot of things going on in the world right now. You got Kenya still happening. It's still popping off. They still want Ruto out of office. All while Traore's, Ibrahim Traore's presidency in Burkina Faso is becoming more and more legitimate as you have European nations recognizing legitimacy. Why is that important? Because that's showing the rest of the world that no matter how many assassination attempts they try to utilize, he's surviving them and it's making his position stronger. So their efforts are failing. We don't want to say theirs. Let's just be realistic. France's efforts are failing. Let's call let's call it what it is. Call a spade a spade. Got to call it what it is. And now countries are realizing that they don't have that authority that they once had. That's a hard thing for them. And now, why they were so adamant to try to get rid of Traore is because he's giving the people on the continent of Africa hope. If you are a colonized people and you're colonizing people, you don't want to see hope. That's the last thing you want them to see. You want them to see a defeated people that's dying, that's malnourished, that's uneducated. That's the control mechanism. And while you see youth and vibrance in the African continent, well, in the West, you see a system that's aged itself out of the system. You see a system that's in decline because they're fighting to prop up a figurehead that's no longer in control. A figurehead that does not have the cognitive abilities and functions. And yes, they're going to try to ride him on out because why? Because they're afraid of the consequences. Somebody had commented earlier last week, if Biden gives reparations, then I mean something actually real, something tangible, something sustainable, which he'll never do. That is the day that he will croak and die. It's like, why? Why are we asking for something that's beyond their control? They can't give you that. You notice they never say, why don't we ask the Vatican for reparations? That's who you really need to be talking to. So when they give you this red herring, that's the design of it. You're talking to the prison guard. You're not talking to the owner of the prison. You may talk to the warden, but you got to get your pardon from the governor. If we can actually start to think about that and to think like that, you're not getting anything from the warden. The warden can only do his job from the governor, aka the papacy. If you didn't realize it, this is still a papal state, aka Dum Diversus. We need to get reparations. We're going to march for reparations. Wrong place to march. You got to march for reparations over there in St. Peter's Square. It's like people are trying to turn the door handle to open the door when you actually have to push for the door to open. It makes no sense. We've been saying this. I don't know why there is a delegation of black people sent over to Rome. I don't know. Because that organization that sent it actually knew who to talk to. They're not going to talk to customer service. You got to talk to the management. So while we're still here trying to fix the problem with customer service, All the management is doing is just sitting back and laughing. They still think that they're going to get an answer from customer service. Because they put you on that customer service loop. Okay, I'm sorry. We're going to answer your question. I'm going to transfer you to another department. And it's still customer service. I got another president for you. It's still customer service. It's not until our people actually wake up and realize that. And I think a lot of our people do. But I also believe a lot of our quote unquote talking heads in, I'm going to say, the new black media or black media, whatever. Most of them know. But again, they can't go against their taskmasters. Yeah. Get them riled up, get them emotionalized, get them this, get them that. That's all they do. Get us all emotional, and then they can play us like a fiddle. Are you satisfied yet? Yeah, yeah. That to me, that's the biggest distraction point because it's doing the job. It's doing the job that it was intended to do. It's working on most of us. Emotionalize them over to this corner. Emotionalize them over to this part of the house. Because why? As long as we have them shouting and singing and protesting and whatever, they can't do damage in the kitchen. You all know that when, I know a majority here, when you all used to celebrate Thanksgiving, and you have family on over, and then you'd be in the house trying to get the dinner ready with the turkey and everything else. You have the grown ups in this part of the house in the living room. You had the kids in the playroom. You had the kids playing and screaming while the grown folks are having conversations and reminiscing. But you would try to have the house sectioned off so the real business of getting the dinner prepared was done in the kitchen. And that's what's happening. The kids, I don't care if they throw a temper tantrum, just have them throw the temper tantrum over there. Oh, you don't think that a million black men are going to show up on the doorsteps of St. Peter's Square and the Basilica? Because if that happens, then that actually shows you that black folks are actually really paying attention and have actually figured out the system. This was a Katushka doll that was very, very, very well insulated. Imagine you have a diaspora march on the steps of the Vatican. I wish I had enough money to organize an event like that. The problem is they would never give us any type of pass or not passports, any type of visas to do that. Do you now see how they've been able to insulate themselves? Rome wouldn't allow it, neither would Italy. You even had about a 10,000 or 100,000 of us show up. That still wouldn't be allowed. Sister Chantel, shalom.
Shalom. Shalom to everybody in the chat. I hope everybody had a good weekend and a good Shabbat. I was just thinking about what you were saying about, well, from what I caught, the transition from being in the chat to going in, you kind of missed some stuff. But I was just thinking about, the, what's that face? Uh, the Prime Minister of Italy.
Maloney.
That's it, Maloney. It's Georgia Maloney, right? Anyway, I was thinking about her outrage to France and how she was so incensed by, how the French are treating the Africans, and that they're taking their resources. I don't know if you remember. I kind of brought that up, and I said when we was looking at the pipeline that they had intended to to pump all that energy out of Africa into Europe. And I said it's interesting that one of those pipes goes to Italy as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so you're cussing Macron for extracting and exploiting, but as long as you're not doing it directly, you're going to still have your hand out and take a piece of the pie. And then I started thinking, it's what you just said. Like, imagine if there's, Israelites at the door in Rome.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought to myself, her reaction to Macron and especially Italy's reaction to Africans turning up at their doorstep. I'm thinking, was all of that a distraction to try to, because it's like, we don't need you looking over here. Look at France, because nobody's looking at America. Everybody at the time was looking at France, because it's like France, everybody was talking about the Sahel. Everybody's talking about, France exploiting. France still has all its, fingers in the pie, so to speak. And Italy was kind of making sure she went on a tirade, just constantly going on and on and on about, oh yeah, Macron this and Macron that, to the point of excessive. And there's sometimes when they do that, there's always an agenda. You know, we like hearing it. It's like, yeah, she's right, but it's like they know how to, as you said, emotionalism. They know how to woo us. And I'm like, what was the point? What's the purpose for this? Because you never open your mouth to speak on us unless there's a reason. And we may see something, it's all filled with glitz, and you glamour us into believing that this is what it's about. Or we're for justice. We're for, you know, it's unfair what you're doing to the Africans while you're still taking from us. But then even that, what's the purpose of it? Because at the end of the day, what have you got in your votes? What is it you don't want us looking? When they do that, it's a distraction. It's look over there. It's the magician. It's the look at this big distraction while I do what I'm doing with my right hand. Look at the left hand, but don't pay attention to my right hand while I do the actual magic, the trickery. Or everything else was all about this glamour of wooing us, and we're listening, and she's saying all the things that we want to hear, and we're like, yeah, you know, this and the other. And it's like, well, what is she doing? Why is she doing that? Why do they not want us looking at Italy? And then when you think about how Italy's always been, they never really colonized Africa to the extent that all the other nations did. But their concentration was mainly around, excuse me, Ethiopia. And they keep going back to Ethiopia. They have some issue, you know. And for me, I'm like, what is the purpose? Why are you constantly trying to distract us? What are you hiding? And that's the point. When they start doing something like that, that's when you should really pay attention to them, because she's trying to point her finger over there because they don't want you looking at them. And then when you start understanding, this is why I keep saying, you're spending all this time of, you know, somebody in the comments. I was watching Ashanda, which is brilliant. Somebody in the comments, I think it was Ace, said something that was so profound. And I can't even remember what it was that the person said, but it was just, once I remember, I'll think, but it just literally slipped out of my head. But it was like, for me, it was like, wow, what that person said kind of puts everything into place. Everything they do is like, it's everything they do is a distraction. It's divide and conquer, and they divide our mind. They divide our mind by distracting us so that we're looking over there, while they conquer the other part by doing something else. You know, for me, it's we. Oh, that's what they said. Talking about the comics of Black Panther, and about how the what was it? How the character was like, I can't remember the name of the character, but the character was like, nah, I've built America, that's my home, and blah blah blah. And this person said, is it possible? I'm basically paraphrasing what this person said. Is it possible that this was the birthplace of FBA, and the fight for trying to maintain and stay in America, separating ourselves from the rest of our brothers and sisters and only focusing on America because we fought for America, we bled for America. Our ancestors, our forefathers are dead in America. They're buried in America. Our blood is soaked in the soil, which it is. But it's your prison. It's your prison.
Mm.
And they want you to look again, another distraction. Look over there. Pay attention. Where does these things come? We fight so hard for the things that we think that is noble, that we're fighting for. And it's like when you actually sit down and try to break down what you're fighting for, it's like, well, why am I fighting for this? Why am I fighting? How did this belief come about? Most of what we fight for, it always starts from them. And at the end of the day, even if there's a black face in front, there is a white face behind.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I want to bring you back to the concept of Black Panther. When we saw in the film, who was behind Black Panther? Who was behind T'Challa? It
Mm.
was
You know,
CIA.
you know what, Sister Chantel, I'm actually glad that you came on. Because I was about to shut this on down because I told you I'm still,
I wasn't even gonna come on. I wasn't
yeah,
gonna come because that my wrist is it's giving me issues. But I
yeah.
thought, yeah.
I'm in the hurt factory, so but I'm glad you came on. I was watching something with my daughter this weekend. It was on Netflix. It was called Supercell.
I haven't watched that, but people have spoken about it.
Supercell. Oh my goodness. And it was a sickle cell gene, and quote unquote so called black folks would have the power to do things.
Mm.
And if and if our people came together that had the power, because they woke up. This is so hilarious. They woke up to realizing that they had power.
And the sickle cell gene is something that activates it, or is like a stepping off kind of thing.
Basically, not everybody.
Seen it. I'm just speculating here. I haven't seen it.
Oh, oh yeah, you gotta see it. I was like, what is this? I just took a look. Because sometimes, on Netflix, things could be hit or miss.
Mm.
But they were saying a lot of things in the movie. And I'm like, are you kidding? I thought that was very interesting. Now, the villain that was there, he had the same powers,
Mm.
and he was allowed to operate to sell drugs and basically destroy the community.
Yeah.
There and it was them folks that allowed him to do that. They were his
Of course.
bosses, of course.
And it's a UK um, series.
Yeah, yeah, it's basically like the Million Youth Media
Yeah.
that they had Supercell, so it was like a Netflix thing.
Oh,
It
you
was
enjoy watching the Million Youth Media?
yeah, it was a pretty legit. It was pretty legit. I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. It actually had a very good theme. You realize what they were talking about, especially if you are awakened, and the reason you have all of that is because we're not warring against ourselves. And here's the craziest thing: we're not even warring against flesh and blood. These are
No.
all principalities. We have been saying this. These are all principalities, and the
Yeah.
principalities are losing.
Mhm. They very much are. Oh, I just wanted to say something. I I wouldn't I this to brother Sean. I wouldn't really call FBA wicked. I everybody has a purpose, and like with the human body, there's lots of moving parts. Everything has to work according to the benefit of the whole.
Hmm.
But the problem is that some cells don't actually. It's almost like they're not working as efficiently and as effectively as they should. And I see that when you awake, and I mean properly awake to all the strongholds, because FBA is another form of stronghold, because it keeps us from us.
Mm-hmm.
It's another form of divide and conquer.
Yes.
Right. Now, I I agree with, and I understand why uh, you guys gatekeep, and I agree with you to an extent, because some people, they come in who are us, and it's like the way they be moving is kind of shady. We have the same thing over here, so I get that. I seriously get that, you know. But sometimes if that's all you see, then it's like you start to miss out on all the things that when you push others away. So the rest of the diaspora is like, okay, all right. And they're moving and they're going to the source. But you want to be like, oh, I'm going after our reparations in America, blah, blah, blah. And what happens to, okay, so the Caribbeans, like, say, for example, sorry, Brother Garth, but let's say his family, right? Because he's first generation, right? And he said that, so I hope you don't mind me saying it again. But you can cuss me later. But and what if his family and others like him are like, they've been told by a lot of FBA, like, nah, you're not getting any because this is for us. And it's like, okay. So they then move with the rest of the diaspora to Rome. What do you think you're going to be missing out? What do you think you're going to get from a system that is literally on its last gasp? And because you have, and I'm not saying, I know that none of our brothers and sisters in the chat, so this is not for the chat because I know where our heads are at. But for those who have said your piece and have sneered and sniggered at everyone in the diaspora, instead of realizing that, it's a few bad apples, and just like with everything, yeah, when that fails, that system fails, I mean, your dollar means nothing now.
Nothing. Yep.
It's over. But you still, some of you, excluding the chat and those who are, level-headed, some of you are still fighting for the reparations of that that dollar, while the rest has gone over here. The rest is moving. Just like how our people was waking up when we were in the churches. It was like the Holy Spirit was with us in the church, right? And when he woke us up, it was like, I'm moving, move with me. And those of us that moved, we moved with him. The rest stayed. And look at the state that they're in now. And it's a sifting, it's a shaking, it's a constant thing, because we keep being sifted because the Holy Spirit is like, I'm moving again, move with me, move with me, move with me. And if you're not moving, if you're stuck in your narrow view of how things are, when the Most High said, I'm bringing back my people, all of them, there's not going to be no this side and that side versus this side and that side. There's going to be the 12 tribes, the 12 sons, united under the whole banner of Yasharah. That's it, right? So there's not going to be none of this. The Most High ain't standing for it. So if you're not going to move with him, you're going to get left out before you. And not only that, look at the blessings that you'll lose out on, because we're all looking to them. The money ain't the wealth. Everything is not. Look, and this is the thing, because a lot of the ones that are in the secular, because they don't know who they are, or they refuse to acknowledge who they are, or they refuse to even just do a small amount of understanding and studying as to what we have done to realize that's our people, this is our our inheritance. This is our book. If this is our book, we was taken. That means they took our stuff. Where's our stuff? Oh, it's in Rome. That's where I'm going. Right? If you can't do that, then you're missing out. And all that you've worked hard for is nothing. It means nothing. So to the ones that don't know, because you don't want to hear the truth and you are against the word, you don't actually understand that you have an inheritance that is beyond your wildest dreams. And I'm not even just talking about the money or the goods or anything else that they took from us. Like, even though, yes, the value of the temple items that they stole, right? It's priceless. But I'm talking about the connection of being his child. That's worth anything that they could even give. Even what Rome has stored up. It's nothing without the connection of the Most High, without his love, without his link. It doesn't mean anything. So those who are stuck in that, I really do. I don't want to say pity, but my heart weeps for them, because you don't even realize that you're in a system that is dead. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, I think a lot of our people are that debate on Thursday night, and now the Biden camp is trying to do another debate for what? My question is for what? You already done exposed yourself. It's finished. But it's not just Biden. That's America that exposed itself.
Mm,
The lies start at the top, right? But the whole part of the system is when people are actually realizing this is a generational open air prison that we
mm-hmm.
have been living under. It's a nice prison. Some parts are nice. Some parts are just downright rubbish.
Well, that's what makes it so appealing, and that's what makes it
Mm,
like a spell
Yeah,
over the eyes of Yasharal.
yeah. Come and enjoy this prison with me.
It's like an
It's
abusive relationship, an abusive partner, husband, wife, whatever. No, yeah,
a,
I have to say husband because I'm not being sexist or anything, but he's going to have more of the power if he's a narcissist and he's got the strength and everything to manipulate you in that, you know. But that's what it's like. It's like being in it. Like sometimes he'll shower you with flowers and gifts and everything, but it's only because of the fact that he feels not guilty, because he doesn't have that feeling to feel guilty, but he feels, if I don't do something, she's going to walk away and I can't have her leave me. No, who leaves me? You don't leave me. If anyone's going to be doing the leaving, it's going to be me.
mm-hmm.
That's America, and we already know that that's what the scripture says. I sit a queen. I'm no widow. I'm not going to see the loss of children. You ain't leaving me. And the loss of children isn't really talking about all these other nations. It's really talking about us,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So it's horrible. It really is horrible. I mean, it's the thing is that they're all like that, but America, mm, it's I don't look at I don't ever look at it as the country, because I look past that, and this is why we were talking when we were talking about the um what's it the what they call it, principalities, because I see the person or the entity behind it. I don't see, oh, this is just a nation of people. It's this entity, and it's got us in a chokehold. Doesn't want
Mm-hmm.
to let us go. Doesn't want to let us go. It's an abusive relationship. It says we would have healed you. It doesn't that not sound like an abused wife? I would have healed you. I would have stayed with you. I would have loved you. I can't stay with you no more because you refuse to do the work. I can't be with you anymore. You're too toxic.
Yeah, that's what's happening. You really can't make this up. You can't make this up. And when I had that discussion with my brother yesterday, it was like, it was defeatedness. It was being defeated. Hey, I can't really think about what's happening because what's happening is that I can only, understand that, I got to get a passport. I got to leave this system because this system is not the way that is not what it was told to me. That's what that is what he is in the position with. He cannot understand why the system is failing him.
Because it was never made for him. To be honest with you, it was never really made for anybody. It was a system that was to exploit. First of all, it was to exploit us. We was the prototype. Now it's exploiting them. And it's just only led down to its logical conclusion. This is where it was always going to end up. If they believed, and this is the lie, they believed that as they keep saying, the American dream is dead. There was never really an American dream. You were living in a dream. What did Morpheus say to Neo? You were living in a dream world. You were in the Matrix.
You were in the Matrix, Neo.
Exactly.
And that's, it's sad, but really that is the truth. We have been in a matrix, and the matrix did a great job of pulling the okey doke over us.
Mm. It's
So,
horrible.
mm-hmm.
Like I said to this for the brothers and sisters in the chat, I said to brother Karis, that I don't like seeing anybody suffer. That also includes the Gentiles, believe it or not. I don't like seeing people suffer. I when I was younger, and there was the war in what was then known Yugoslavia, and you see what was going on there, I cried. I would cry. I couldn't watch the news anymore. Couldn't watch what was going on in Africa. Just couldn't watch it. I don't particularly enjoy watching the news. I don't particularly enjoy what I know is coming to them. But if they could be saved, I would want them to. Why would we? We're not a malicious people. And even though they hurt us, we get upset. Yes, we get so mad. I don't hide that. I don't hide my feelings. You guys have heard me. I get mad. But also at the same time, once I calm down, it's like when you read the scriptures and you see what's coming to them. And when you see that it says that everything we went through, it's going to be doubled. And the terrifying thought is that this is what really wrenches my heart. We don't even know to the full extent of what they have done to us. And when you wrap your head around how wicked they have been to us, it makes you feel so sick to your stomach. But the real kicker is we don't know what you've done to us, the worst of what you've done to us. because you've hidden it from us, and you've definitely hidden it from yourselves. You don't want your children to know what your ancestors, what your forefathers have done, right?
Mm.
But this is the scary part. Everything that you did to us, you're going to receive double. And if that doesn't shake you, Mr. Gentile and Mrs. Gentile woman, if this don't shake you to your very core, then I'm sorry, I don't know what to say to you. This isn't I'm not even trying to, I'm just basically saying this. This is the realest thing you're ever going to hear. If you don't know everything, and you don't want to know, frankly, because we know you don't want to know the full extent of what your ancestors did to us, and knowing that you know who we are, even if you try to be in denial, the truth is smacking you in the face anyway. Deep down, you know who we are. Those of you who are listening and in denial, the horror is that what you've done to us is coming back to you tenfold. You're going to receive double of that. You should feel afraid. You should feel very, very afraid. And your fear should kind of provoke you into repentance. That's what it should do. And this would be us saying, we would have healed you. If you're hearing what I'm saying and you still go off on your merry way, this would be us lamenting and saying, when we leave, when we see you come into the fullness of the horrors, or even just the beginning of the horrors that you're about to experience for not only the 400 years, but it would be, I won't even say 800 years. I would say 1,000 years, because we're still here. We're still here, and you're still doing what you're doing to us. So for about 1,000 years of double the time that we went through, double the intensity, double the pain, double the horrors, double on everything. Did you really have the stomach for that?
Mm.
Because for me, that's a sobering thought.
It's gonna
That's a
be a,
sobering
it's gonna
thought.
be it's gonna be like a technocratic, technological enslavement. Something that on a scale we've never seen before. It's
Well,
be
have
horrible.
you've seen Animatrix, right?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember the beginning where they had the machines conquered them and they started experimenting on them, and
Mm-hmm.
you could see them fiddling around with their brain. Sorry, guys, but you saw their brain matter, and you saw their little instruments, their little mechanical instruments, tapping into their brain, basically, you know, tapping into your brain to control your emotions. Oh, we want you to laugh. We're going to tap that. You
Mm.
find that funny. We want you to cry. We're going to tap on that. You're going to end up finding that, you're going to cry about that. I mean, they've done that to us, but it's not been as intense as what they're going to go through. Theirs is more of a psychological manipulation. They will manipulate you on a technological uh, on a technological level, and it will be internal. They will put their tiny little machines, their nanotechnology or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
inside of you, and do whatever, their little tiny little machines, to do whatever they want to do to you. And you would just, whatever aspect of humanity that you have left will be in a corner of your own self. We all know about MK Ultra. This is going to be the worst case of it, because there's something wicked about, or something unsettling about the wicked. It's not enough for them to just diminish you. They want you to be aware of the fact that you are being diminished. So even though they have you in this locked in syndrome, they will keep you awake or conscious enough for you to actually understand that you're going through the horrors that they're putting you through. I have seen certain things where they have chemicals that would just, the things they can do, it's terrifying, and that's what they can do on the chemical level now.
Yeah, people don't even understand what what they can prescribe for you for all types of mental conditions and things of that nature. If you have ever been in a psychological hospital or psychiatric hospital, um, those
Can't say
chemicals,
that I have.
there's some things on out there that's real crazy.
Mm, it's
So,
horrible.
hmm
But I was watching something, this was a while back, where they were tormenting somebody, and they have the ability, this chemical compound that they inject. Can I say that? Sorry, I said it already anyway. But this chemical compound that they lollipop you with, and it basically blocks off. So after a certain point, your adrenaline, it dissipates, and then it's like your brain shuts down to the point where you knock out because you can't take any more of the pain. Well,
mm,
they have this compound that stops that. So basically, what it does is it keeps you conscious, and it
mm,
blocks off that part of your brain that will knock you out. So your pain is going and going and going and going, and it never stops. This is when the Bible says they will seek death and not find it. Now imagine that you can't. They can put you through so much pain, but where a normal human being will pass out from the sheer pain that their body is being put through, they have a compound that stops you from stops your mind from doing that, from shutting you down. So you're constantly being awake and alert and feeling every bit. And that compound also, it kind of it increases the pain receptors, so you're feeling more of that pain.
that's
This is the wickedness of these people. This is a wickedness of these people, and this was something that they created. I remember watching it. It was on this platform years ago. Can't find it now. Can't find it anywhere.
Yeah. They take every so often. I'm telling you, YouTube always takes off my videos. There's a lot of videos that YouTube has taken off.
Mm,
I'm probably at about maybe 20 or 30 of my videos have been taken off.
wow.
Yeah, yeah, it's that bad.
Did they take down the breakdown of Leave the World Behind? I bet they
Um,
did.
Look, they took down a couple. I could probably show you like a list of all the videos that they've taken down for my for blocked videos. They'll just take it down like, oh, like I know I had it on the channel here. I know I had it here. I know we talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, sorry, this content was deemed inappropriate.
Hmm. And yet people can call us the most hurtful things, and their content will be right where it is.
Hmm
I will say this: whatever you think they could do, they've done it. They've either done it, doing it, or they plan to do it. There is no, oh no, they wouldn't do that. No, they would, and they have.
hmm
Never believe that the enemy, and the thing is, a hard thing and it's a horrible thing because you don't really want your mind to go into those places, because there's things that I know, like I had to put it down, like I can't do this anymore. It's just too much. When you see the horrors, it's really, you have to wonder about the the state of these people. Um, how they operate, how they're able to think. You know, it, it's really frightening. It is frightening. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it terrifies me. I'm not even gonna lie, it terrifies me. You know.
Absolutely. It truly does. It does. And I always like to caveat this. It's not going to get any better, family. People are like, "Oh, it's going to get better." And now I think a lot of folks have finally realized it's not going to get better because why? Because the Most High has already declared that He's going to show us this place. He's going to show us what this captivity was always about. And I mean, look at how the Most High is showing things. Look how the Most High is moving things.
Yeah.
And it's been a pretty expedient time frame. Now, I look at it like this. You all don't think that we're not going to war? When I saw that performance on that debate, I said, yeah, we're about to go to war. We're about
Of
to
course.
go to war, but they're going to spin the war like, oh, what's this? It's that. Oh, it's just a limited conflict, nothing to worry about. Get back to work. Russia and China, Iran, North Korea. Who knows what they're going to. They have the buffet, right, of who they want to choose from.
Mm.
And the
You're not gonna
funny thing,
fight your enemy when they're strong.
exactly. And they've all made security agreements. So it's not going to be the fact that you know the US can just go on out carte blanche and be like, all right, I'm just going to pick on this person today. Oh,
Mm-mm.
they only have a population group of about 2 or 3 million. Sounds easy. Let's mop them up real quick.
Those days are over.
Over. Yes, it's over.
I
So
wanna.
my thing was, who do they think they're going to be able to try to stomp on real quick? Why? You get what I'm saying? It's like you really can't be fighting countries when you're old and decrepit.
Yeah,
And and
exactly.
and I had to look at this analysis, from our northerner prepper, Israelite prepper. I guess he's gonna be joined. He's gonna have my kinfolk join them shortly, since my brother says that he's gonna try to move on out to Canada as as things get crazy. Oh my goodness. Well, the U.S. has this. The U.S. has that. The U.S. doesn't have any hypersonic missiles, and they don't have anything to defeat hypersonic missiles. I'm like, did everybody just like dismiss the most tactical elephant in the room?
Yes, they did.
If you're coming to a gunfight with a knife, your behind is going to lose. If
Hmm.
you're coming to a gunfight with a bow and arrow, I'm just saying, like, it doesn't make sense. And people are so hyped up on themselves that they can't even understand reality.
Because that's prophecy. It's really quite something when you actually see it. We read about it, but actually living it and seeing it, it's like wow, wow. It's quite something. It is quite something. I was um I was reading Matthew 22, and I found it really interesting. I was just gonna just go back to what I was just saying initially with the wickedness and everything, because it's the whole, even down to the way they continue to operate, you know. But the where it talks about the eye, if the light of the body is the eye, if therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body should be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? And like some of us, we look at this in terms of the individual, but I'm looking at this in terms of the nations, the whole. Like, for example, the light of your body, like it's the light would also be a representation of that um um the entity that sits on over that nation, you know the principality. And it's like the light, the one that sits over us is the Most High, right? Is Yahusha. And his um is would be Michael, right? And the body is filled with light. We fall down, but the body is filled with light. But if you got the flip side of things, right, they've been governed by a light that was actually, it wasn't it wasn't a proper light. If thy eye be evil, you know, if thy eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. Because that eye, or that light that sits above them, is evil. Their principality, they went across the world with that image, with that principality, the Mr. J-Man, right? And that was who we all looked at. It was a light that gave no heat. It was a fake light. But if thine eye be evil, and the whole body shall be full of darkness. Now this light is connected, this light, or this eye is connected to darkness. That's why it goes on to say, if therefore the light that is in thee be darkness. So if this light, they propped this image as their light, this is the savior. But if this light that is in thee be darkness, how great is the darkness? How great is it going to be when it finally reveals and shows itself? And it's the same thing with us. We are connected to our power source, which is the Most High. How great is the light? When we are connected to him, and when we come back to him, when we are fully established, can you imagine what we're going to be? I don't even think we can even imagine it, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to share that, but I've got to go now because I've got to get ready to pick up my kids.
Yeah, I'm gonna
But
I'm gonna I'm gonna take off too. I appreciate you, Sister Chantel. I appreciate everybody in the chat. We're up to 423. YouTube is not going after me, I guess. They're they're growing old and senile, I guess. Hey,
they've
it
got
happens to the
bigger
best of us.
fish to fry. I'm sorry not to be thing, but they're probably scrambling now. There's too much going on.
Mhm.
They're probably trying to kind of, the algorithm is probably working overtime because it's trying to silence the stirrings of we're in a war, or we're about to go into war. All the other conspiracy theorists that are out there, it's probably working overtime with that. But it's been great. Thank you for having me up. And thank you, everybody in the chat, for being patient with me. I do talk a lot,
No,
but
that's good. No, that's good. If you were talking nonsense, then you'd be a lot less patient.
I've
What is
seen
she
how they
talking
go, how they
about?
move in the chat. I've
Oh,
seen how
this
they
chat
go when
can
people
be
are like,
this chat can be like Caesar with the in the Colosseum,
yeah,
all the thumbs down and delete them.
exactly.
Oh boy.
But anyway, thank you for having me on, and I will. Oh, have I gone?
No, yeah, no, you're
Oh,
still
right.
on here.
Sorry. No, my phone's acting funny. Yeah. Thank you
It's
for having
fine.
me on.
They're coming in. And we told too much. We said too
Yeah.
much. We gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go, fam. The feds. They're looking at this channel. Uh we said too much.
Anyway, I have got
It's
to
gonna
go.
be a false flag. It's gonna be a false flag.
People,
Man.
I will see you later. I will talk to you later, Karis.
All right. All right.
Bye bye.
Oh. All right, family. Yeah, tomorrow I'll be a bit better, a little bit on. That started off real slow. Oh my goodness. I didn't even have most of my jokes going. I had some jokes for that stage. Oh my goodness. I couldn't even get that on up and going. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, family. Because I don't know about you, but QA false flag, 2 weeks, 3 months. I'm going to say, because I was saying around July, I believe I'm going to say it right here. I'm going to say it right here. My opinion. 2 weeks. I'm going to say it right here. 2 weeks. And then they'll say it's Joe Biden's fault because America's enemies smelled that, they weren't strong. Just saying. Then maybe they'll have it on July 11th. Because that would be Slurpee Day. 7-Eleven, get it? Slurpee Day. I'm just saying. Will the diaper hit the fan? Not. Will the diaper dizzy hit the fizzy? Not the shizzy. Will the diaper dizzy hit the fizzy? That's all I gotta ask myself. Will the loaded, there we go. Will the loaded diaper Oh my goodness. All right, family. I pray that you all have a blessed day. Continue to keep Question Night Africa in your prayers. Continue to keep the Covenant Awakenings channel in your prayers. Thank you, family, for your support and your prayers. That's all I can say. Hallelujah. So, with that said, family, I got to do some hurricane preparedness early in the season. But with that, most time willing, I'll be back on tomorrow. And with that, shalom, salama, siemi, shalom, peace and blessings, Yasharel.